morning, everybody. We are so happy to be here this morning. Let's lift our heart in praise. Early in the morning, when I rise, I lift my hands in praise because I'm alive. And late at night, when I lay down, I lift my heart in praise for the love I found. And I sing, early in the morning, there we go. When I rise, I lift my hands in praise because I'm alive. And late at night, when I lay down, I lift my heart in praise for the love I found. And I sing, for the love I found, for the love I found, for the love I found.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Janine, for that always lively start to our streaming service. And I want to welcome everybody to our service today. I want to borrow a couple of words that Audrey said as we prayed in this morning at the church, where she said to those of us present, even though we are 6 feet apart, we are connected. One of the great parts about streaming is the fact that we are connected wherever you are. So welcome to today's streaming service. Unity of Olympia is a welcoming community committed to a vision of a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of spiritual awakening. We are here to celebrate, meditate, learn, serve, and to affirm the divine in all. So before our talented licensed Unity teacher Audrey steps forward to pray us in, I get to light the Christ candle, which of course represents the Christ in all of us. We are spiritually Christian, but we are culturally unlimited, and we know that this Christ candle represents that light in each one of us.
Thank you, Greg. Please join me this morning in opening our service with prayer. We breathe in and breathe out, recognizing the beauty of this day. We see the beauty in nature all around us. We know that nature's beauty reflects our own divine nature. We see that we are in perfect time today, that we are right here, right now, fully present, open, receptive, to share, to give, to receive, knowing this moment is sacred, holy, and blessed, and we are on sacred ground. We are so grateful for this awareness, for our connection with each other, and for the love that sustains us in this human journey. Thank you, God. Amen.
Thank you, Audrey. Reading today's daily word from the prayer team is Cynthia Dallas.
Good morning. Sunday, October 18th, daily word, steadfast. I am steadfast, I am a steadfast seeker. No matter where I may be on my path, sometimes my spiritual life feels easy and sometimes it feels hard. There are times I enjoy new insights, blissful clarity and peace. Other times I may feel struggle, feeling stuck and directionless, or even lonely on my walk with God. At times like these, I renew my commitment to my spiritual path. Although my attention may have wandered, the divine presence within me has always remained steadfast, as near as my next thought. Wherever I am in space, time, or consciousness, I discover the love, strength, and wisdom of God expressing through me. From Psalm 139, 9-10. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. And our affirmation, I am a steadfast spiritual seeker. If we could say that together. I am a steadfast spiritual seeker.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. This is the time in our service where we affirm our statement of faith, and I invite you to join me with "There is only one." Together, please. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, all power, presence, and wisdom. It is in God that we live, move, and have our being, and we know this is so.
Let's remind ourselves who we are. I'm a living blessing everywhere I go. I am a living blessing, spreading peace and love in this world. And all I do is pray. And all I do is pray. And all I do is pray. And I am a living blessing in this world. And you are a living blessing everywhere you go. You are a living blessing, spreading peace and love in this world. And all you do is pray. And all you do is pray. And all you do is pray. And you are a living blessing in this world. And we are a living blessing. Sing it out. Everywhere we go. We are a living blessing, spreading peace and love in this world. And all we do is pray. And all we do is pray. And all we do is pray. And we are a living blessing in this world. That's right. We are a living blessing in this world. Feel it in your body. We are a living blessing in this world.
Thank you, Janine. That was lovely. Good morning, everyone. So when I was in school, the teachers used to always say, practice makes perfect. But then they also said, nobody's perfect, so I stopped practicing. Today, we're talking about spiritual practice. And like we did a couple weeks ago, there are times that I will have questions. The 5 or so people here in the sanctuary with me are certainly welcome to share comments. And then Paul in our sound booth has graciously agreed to share any comments that are made through the Facebook chat. So if you're joining us by Facebook Live, if you feel so inspired, when I ask a question, please put your response in the chat and Paul will share that with us. Many of you know about me that I'm a teacher, and so I already know what I think, and I want to know what you think, and I like to ask questions. So here's my first question to everyone. What does it mean to practice? What does practice mean?
Repetition.
Okay, I heard from Janine, repetition. Thank you, Janine. Word. Thank you, James. Our friends in the chat may still be pondering, and that's fine.
No. Lori says practice makes progress.
Practice makes progress. Yes, I agree with Lori, and I'm going to talk more about that in a bit. Thank you, Lori. When I was doing some research into what practice means for me, some of the definitions that I saw that resonated were to carry out or perform an activity or method or custom regularly. So it gets to what James had shared about over and over. Also, the idea of performing an activity regularly or repeatedly to improve or maintain proficiency. So with the hope of getting better. So here's my next question for you. What does it mean about an activity that it is a practice? If an activity is a practice, what does that mean about that activity?
You do it for fun.
Oh, Greg says we do it for fun. Okay, thank you, Greg. Other thoughts?
Part of your discipline, self-discipline?
Okay, part of my self-discipline, part of what I structure myself to do. Thank you, Janine.
Lyra from the comments says to be patient with self while practicing.
Yes, I love it. To be patient with self while practicing. I completely agree. And this makes me think about what Lori shared earlier about practice makes progress. Because we have this saying, and I'm going to call it a funky saying in English about practice makes perfect. But the reality is when something is a practice, for me that means it does not have to be perfect. That the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, that the journey is the joy, and it's about the repetition and the doing it over and over. And for me, the idea of something being a practice means I'm going to grow, I'm going to experience, I'm going to evolve and change. I don't want to cut off the comments in the chat, Paul, if there's anything else.
Yes, Mary Ellen says practice uncovers layers and layers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it allows us to go deeper. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Beautiful. All right. Well, spiritual practice. For those of us who have spent some time working on our spirituality, spiritual practice is often about inducing a spiritual experience or cultivating that connection with the divine. And I think traditional Christianity might call spiritual practice about connecting with the divine. We know in unity we are always connected with the divine. We know because of our first principle that God is all good, everywhere present. And because of our second principle, we know that God is in each one of us, not just those of us in the building, not just those of us in unity, but in every human being, that spark of divinity is there. And so I like to think about spiritual practice as that conscious connection with that divinity, that attempt for me to remember the truth of who I am on a conscious level. I can't tell, Paul, if you've got something else that you want to share from the chat before I go to my next question. I'll have to create a hand signal.
No, that's fine.
All right, next question. Okay.
No, Anne says practice means showing up.
Practice means showing up, yes. And Janine used the word discipline a little bit earlier. So Greg said that a practice might be something that's fun, and maybe it is. And on some days, maybe it's not easy to challenge myself to continue my practice. Maybe I'm dragging myself to do something. And I remember, okay, I have a commitment to this, and I know that I'm on this path, so I'm going to continue to do it, even if I'm not feeling 100% like doing it today. I think we have a lot of spiritual practices here in Unity. So my next question is, what spiritual practices are you aware of? Oh, I see Cynthia's got her hand raised.
Meditation.
Meditation, yes. And we're going to do some meditation later today. What a surprise on a Sunday morning. What other spiritual practices are you aware of, James?
Prayer.
Prayer, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Daily word.
The daily word, yes, spiritual reading. And I love that our daily word today talks about being a spiritual seeker.
Mary Ellen says yoga.
Oh yes, yoga, that connection with the breath and the body. And we're going to talk about that coming up in a bit too. And then Janine was saying music. Yes, So whether we're creating music or singing along or listening or humming, music can be a huge spiritual benefit, absolutely. There's a great biblical quote from the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verses 21 and 22. And it involves Peter and Jesus. And Peter is talking to Jesus, and I think feeling a little proud of himself. And Peter says, Lord, if another member of the church sins against me, how often should I forgive? As many as 7 times? And 7, I think, to Peter sounded like a pretty ginormous number. And Jesus, our master teacher, said, not 7 times, but I tell you, depending on the translation, the New Revised Standard Version says 77 times. So 7 times 11. The Message Bible that Reverend Terry likes to use says 70 times 7. So 7 times 10 times 7. Now, even though Jesus was our master teacher, I do not believe he was trying to lay down a mathematical story problem for Peter. I believe what Jesus was saying is that forgiveness is a practice. If we look at some of the metaphysical meanings of some of these numbers, 7 stands for completion at a spiritual level. We might think about the book of Genesis where the earth was created in 7 days, so spiritual completion. The number 11, if we're looking at 7 times 11, pardon me, the number 11 indicates wholeness. And the number 10 for 7 times 10 times 7 equals perfect balance. And so looking at this story from a metaphysical standpoint, I believe Jesus wasn't telling Peter to keep track of how many times he was forgiving a brother or a sister, but instead to consider forgiveness a spiritual practice, something to come back to over and over and over and over, something to use to peel back those layers of the onion. And I think spiritual practice does work this way, that it is something that we come back to repeatedly. Now, I hope you all received this fabulous little book in the mail recently. This booklet talks about many different spiritual practices, and the office sent these booklets out recently to anyone who is part of the community or who has contributed money recently. I also emailed with Indira, our office manager, and she says she has about 50 more of these. So if you didn't get one of these, or you lost yours, or you gave it away because it was so fabulous and you want another one, please send Indira an email so that you can get another one. These booklets talk about a variety of spiritual practices. Now, it's not all-inclusive. There may be other spiritual practices that are not included in here. I also believe that any activity can be a spiritual practice or not. So let me give you an example of something that's not in the book, but that I've spent some time thinking about, and I'm guessing maybe you have as well. In our prosperity teachings, we often talk about tithing. And Reverend Terry and I have a running joke that tithing is the only place Unity takes the Bible literally, because in the book of Hebrews, it talks about tithing 10%. Now, if I want to tithe from a non-spiritual perspective, I can think of it as a should. Oh, I should give 10%. Oh, I feel guilty if I don't give 10%. Oh, okay, here's my 10%. I don't know about you. I personally have had no spiritual growth the times that I have shoulded myself. Or I can look at tithing and prosperity consciousness from a spiritual growth perspective. I can consider my money is an extension of energy. It comes to me because of what I do out in the world. I contribute my energy through what I give out in the world. How do I want to channel my energy? What do I want it to go to? What has fed me that I want to feed back? What has inspired me that I want to continue? And for me, that makes tithing and prosperity consciousness a spiritual practice and not just a should. Many spiritual traditions consider spiritual practices as analogous to walking a path. And we even heard that in our daily word this morning. We heard about walking a path with God. And I love this analogy as well, thinking about our spiritual practice like walking a path. Because whether you have gone for a hike in the woods, or whether you have walked in a neighborhood trick-or-treating for Halloween candy for yourself or for a small person, you probably have had the experience of going on a walk. There's a couple great practices mentioned in here that I think we don't talk about very often, and I just wanted to call them out. One of them is self-care. I think we don't often think about self-care as a spiritual practice, but I love what Mary Ellen said earlier about yoga being a spiritual practice, because yoga incorporates the body in addition to thinking about the soul and the spirit. In unity, the Trinity, one definition for the Trinity is actually spirit, soul, and body. Thinking about spirit as that unchanging divine part of ourselves, soul as our consciousness, including what's in our unconsciousness, and our body, recognizing that if we don't care for our bodies, that's going to have an impact on our consciousness and our spiritual experience. So there's some great ideas about self-care in this little booklet. And if you've ever gone, like I said, on a hike or walked to your neighborhood for Halloween candy, you know the value of taking care of your body in that experience. I have a running joke about Halloween that it's either always dumping rain or freezing. So you can wear your rain gear, or you can wear your warm coat, or not. And if you don't practice those self-care elements, you know it's going to have an impact on your experience with that walk. Another great practice that's mentioned in this book that I think we don't talk about often is spiritual social action. The idea of how do we contribute to the greater good of the world. If we're going on a hike, we know that many parks have a park pass that you purchase so that funds are available to maintain and keep the park for others. Many of you may have also heard the saying, take only pictures, leave only footprints. So the idea that when I'm going on this beautiful walk in the woods, I'm not going to destroy it. I'm going to leave it pristine and beautiful for the next person. And if you're trick-or-treating for Halloween candy, that when someone offers you the bowl, you don't dump the whole bowl into your bag, even though you might really want to. You just take one or two and leave some for the other people. And when I say you might really want to, I mean me, of course. I wanted to share how I used some of the practices in this book earlier this year on a personal healing journey. So my stepdaughter shared with my husband and me in January that she was expecting her first baby. And I was thrilled for her because I know she has always wanted to be a parent. And I also felt a sinking in my own heart because I knew it was time for me to do some healing work of my own around not having children of my own and around being a step-parent. And I had probably needed to do this work for several decades and had chosen not to until the moment arose. So some of the techniques I used that are discussed further in this little booklet, one is visioning, this idea of what would it look like? What am I trying to reach? I knew for me what I didn't want. I didn't want to be wrapped up in my own feelings or feeling competitive or judgmental of others. I wanted to be in a place where I could be fully, freely happy for my stepdaughter, where I could radiate love to her and her baby, where I could fully support her and let her know how proud I am of her and her family. I used prayer, which is mentioned in this booklet as well. I am blessed right now with, I will say, 3.5 prayer partners, 3 women that I pray with regularly, and a 4th woman who I pray with periodically. And these delightful ladies helped hold the high watch for me at times that I was struggling to hold it for myself. So definitely using prayer to do that inner work, that inner healing. I was working through a book, and sometimes for me it's not enough to just read a book. I have to reflect on it more deeply. And some of the other practices covered in the Spiritual Practices booklet talk about self-reflection and journaling. So I get a chance to really ponder and think through, what do these ideas mean for me? How am I interacting with them? What do I agree with? What resonates with me and what doesn't? In the course of this journaling and self-reflection, I uncovered what Unity writer Emily Cady calls mistaken beliefs. I don't know if any of you have ever had a mistaken belief. I had about 10 pages of them after I was done journaling. And then I had an opportunity to use the first 2 chapters in this booklet on affirmations and denials and create statements that helped me deeper know the truth. I love the way affirmations are defined in here. It says an affirmation is a declaration of spiritual truth, supporting us in the same way an anchor holds a boat steady in its position in the water. An affirmation is a claim on truth, our demand on truth to establish itself in mind and heart. I think we hear a lot about affirmations in the popular culture. We don't hear so much about denials, which are not pretending that something doesn't exist, but an elimination of thoughts and beliefs that we know are false. So because of our first 2 principles, principle 1, where we know God is all good everywhere present, and principle 2, where we know that we are each embodiments of that divine, we can use denials and affirmations in the same way that we use good supportive hiking boots as we're out there in that hike. We know that affirmations and denials are our connection to the divine, our way of communicating that divine energy to ourselves, knowing if I am an embodiment of the divine, if you are an embodiment of the divine, these false ideas are not true. These statements about who I am and my magnificence, yes, these are true. Last but not least, the other practice that I used from this booklet was the idea of the Sabbath. The idea of taking time to rest, to celebrate, to recognize how far we have come. I had some very precious moments in the past 6 weeks when we were visiting my stepdaughter and her baby, where I got to rock that baby to sleep and sing him some lullabies. And I got to share with my husband the joy and the blessedness of being grandparents together. And those moments to me are so precious. And something that I always think, me being me, I think, okay, well after the Sabbath, which is Sunday, what comes next? Well, darn it, it's Monday morning again. And maybe you've had that experience with me as well, that we have these spiritual experiences and then Monday shows up. And then we have these spiritual experiences again and then Monday shows up again. But I think the more we practice, the more we work on our spiritual practice, the better we are able to remember that when that Monday morning shows up and my mistaken beliefs are knocking at my door again, that I can better remember and have better resiliency to say, okay, that's not the truth of who I am. I know the truth of who I am. My hope for all of us is that we practice. I know we do on Sundays. I believe you do the rest of the week as well. I hope we all continue to explore what spiritual practices work for us as a community, as individuals. If you have other spiritual practices that I haven't mentioned here, because like I said, there's millions of them, please share them with me. I'm always open to learning. And I know for all of us, as we practice, that with practice, we progress. Before we get into some music from Janine to get us prepared for meditation, I want to share what the meditation today will look like because it'll look slightly different than what we usually do. I want to share a meditation technique that I use as part of my practice. It involves the 12 powers, it involves visualization, and some repetition. And so I will ask you at the beginning of each of the 12 powers to imagine a specific color aligned with one of the 12 powers. I'm just going to use as an example orange. If you have something orange in your environment that you want to focus on, great. If you can just envision the color orange during that time, that's wonderful. I will share a denial and then an affirmation. And the frequency that I do is I say the denial once and I say the affirmation 5 times. Because I know for the way that our brains work, that sometimes with the denial, it's hard for our brain to sort that not part out. So For me, what works is to do the denial once and the affirmation 5 times. That's just an exciting preview of what things will look like when we get to that point. And before we do, we'll have some music and humming with Janine.
Thank you, Audrey. What a beautiful lesson. I'm looking forward to this new meditation. Let's get comfortable in our chair. We're going to sing together. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to sing The Will of My Heart. We're going to sing it twice through using the words, and then we're going to hum. I want you to feel the difference of what that does in your body. The will of my heart is to be open constantly. Let's do it again. The will of my heart is to be open constantly. Let's do that one more time. It is to be open constantly.
So I invite you to let your breath be natural and relaxed. As you breathe in, feel your belly gently expand. And as you breathe out, feel it relax. I invite you to hear these words as the words of your own heart. This is my truth. I envision royal blue. I am faith. I release any ideas of separation from my source. I am filled with faith. I know the Christ presence in me blesses me in all I do. I am faith. I know the Christ presence in me blesses me in all I do. I am faith. I know the Christ presence blesses me in all I do. I am faith. I know the Christ presence blesses me in all I do. I am faith. I know the Christ presence in me blesses me in all I do. I am faith. And now I envision spring green. I am strength. If I have thoughts of weakness or victimhood, I gently let those go. I am strong and fearless. God's light boldly shines forth in me now. I am strength. I am strong and fearless. God's light boldly shines forth in me now. I am strength. I am strong and fearless. God's light boldly shines forth in me now. I am strength. I am strong and fearless. God's light boldly shines forth in me now. I am strength. I am strong and fearless. God's light boldly shines forth in me now. I am strength. And I envision the color of yellow. I am wisdom. I let go of any need to label or blame myself, others, or my experience. I discern spiritual truth in all aspects of my life. I unconditionally accept others and myself. I am wisdom. I discern spiritual truth in all aspects of my life. I unconditionally accept others and myself. I am wisdom. I discern spiritual truth in all aspects of my life. I unconditionally accept others and myself. I am wisdom. I discern spiritual truth in all aspects of my life. I unconditionally accept others and myself. I am wisdom. I discern spiritual truth in all aspects of my life. I unconditionally accept others and myself. I am wisdom. And now I visualize pink. I am love. Any sense of discord or conflict evaporates. I let go of resentment, anger, and blame right now. I am a radiating center of God's love. I am harmony and serenity. I am love. I am a radiating center of God's love. I am harmony and serenity. I am love. I am a radiating center of God's love. I am harmony and serenity. I am love. I am a radiating center of God's love. I am harmony and serenity. I am love. I am a radiating center of God's love. I am harmony and serenity. I am love. I now envision the color purple. I am power. If I have thoughts of powerlessness or hopelessness, I gently let those go. God is the one presence and power in my life. Divine power moves through me as me now. I am power. God is the one presence and power in my life. Divine power moves through me as me now. I am power. God is the one presence and power in my life. Divine power moves through me as me now. I am power. God is the one presence and power in my life. Divine power moves through me as me now. I am power. God is the one presence and one power in my life. Divine power moves through me as me now. I am power. And now I envision sky blue. I am imagination. I refuse to entertain scary, debilitating, or weakening thoughts. I am a co-creator with God. I see only good, and only good comes to me now. I am imagination. I am a co-creator with God. I see only good, and only good comes to me now. I am imagination. I am a co-creator with God. I see only good, and only good comes to me now. I am imagination. I am a co-creator with God. I see only good, and only good comes to me now. I am imagination. I am a co-creator with God. I see only good, and only good comes to me now. I am imagination. And I envision the color gold. I am understanding. I set aside any confusion or self-doubt. I am wise and intelligent. Knowledge inspires me. I know what to do and how to do it. I am understanding. I am wise and intelligent. Knowledge inspires me. I know what to do and how to do it. I am understanding. I am wise and intelligent. Knowledge inspires me. I know what to do and how to do it. I am understanding. I am wise and intelligent. Knowledge inspires me. I know what to do and how to do it. I am understanding. I am wise and intelligent. Knowledge inspires me. I know what to do and how to do it. I am understanding. And now I envision the color silver. I am will. Right now, I release any thought that is out of alignment with the divine. Divine will is my will. I choose right thoughts, words, and actions. I am will. Divine will is my will. I choose right thoughts, words, and actions. I am will. Divine will is my will. I choose right thoughts, words, and actions. I am will. Divine will is my will. I choose right thoughts, words, and actions. I am will. Divine will is my will. I choose right thoughts, words, and actions. I am will. And now I envision olive green. I am order. I know there is no wrong lesson. My life follows an orderly plan of ever unfolding awareness of my oneness with Source. I am order. Everything is a lesson. My life follows an orderly plan of ever unfolding awareness of my oneness with Source. I am order. Everything is a lesson. My life follows an orderly plan of ever unfolding awareness of my oneness with Source. I am order. Everything is a lesson. My life follows an orderly plan of ever unfolding awareness of my oneness with Source. I am order. And now I envision the color orange. I am zeal. I let go of any condemning ideas that what I need, want, like, or prefer is unimportant or shameful. I celebrate life. I am joyful every day, knowing that God lives through me always and in all ways. I am zeal. I celebrate life. I am joyful every day, knowing that God lives through me always and in all ways. I am zeal. I celebrate life. I am joyful every day, knowing that God lives through me always and in all ways. I am zeal. I celebrate life. I am joyful every day, knowing that God lives through me always and in all ways. I am zeal. I celebrate life. I am joyful every day, knowing that God lives through me always and in all ways. I am zeal. And now I envision the color brown. I am release. I release all guilt and unforgiveness towards others and myself. I let God's peace into my life. I make room for my good. I am release. I let God's peace into my life. I make room for my good. I am release. I let God's peace into my life. I make room for my good. I am release. I let God's peace into my life. I make room for my good. I am release. I let God's peace into my life. I make room for my good. I am release. And finally, I envision the color red. I am life itself. A label, diagnosis, or condition is not the truth of who I am. I am vibrantly alive with God. Every cell of my body radiates divine love and light. I am life. I am vibrantly alive with God. Every cell of my body radiates divine love and light. I am life. I am vibrantly alive with God. Every cell of my body radiates divine love and light. I am life. I am vibrantly alive with God. Every cell of my body radiates divine love and light. that we are life, imagination, power, wisdom, understanding, zeal, elimination, faith, love, order, will, and strength. We breathe these in and breathe them out, knowing that these sacred gifts are our truth. And so it is. Amen.
Let's hum one more time. It is to be open constantly.
Well, thank you, Audrey, for today's lesson and for that amazing meditation, and of course, Janine, for our heavenly music. Today's worship team wants to welcome each and every one of you to today's streaming service, and we trust that this service will fill your soul during these times when we cannot meet together in the church. And I want to say something about today's worship team. Some of us get to stand in front of the camera so that you see us at home, but we have others involved, including Paul Swanda, who's back there in the sound booth. Mary Ellen Saltis is doing the producing. But here's something I wanted to say for several weeks. There is another person who participates in these services, and perhaps we here at the church get to enjoy it more than you. But I certainly hope that you have not missed the fact that Addie Robinson continues to bring these beautiful flowers from her garden. We were commenting that here it is October and we're still getting beautiful flowers. Thank you, Addie. Together we can continue to hold the high watch for our church, our planet, and everyone on it. And if you are new to Unity of Olympia, I hope that you will consider contacting us. You can go to our website, go to the guest survey and the Contact Us tab, and that way you can be more fully informed and we can contact you as well. There are always many activities happening here, which I would like to line out for you right now. The Community Connections on Wednesday is continuing with James Tierney, our ministerial intern. And he leads these with music, movement, meditation, and a message so that at midweek we can continue to be uplifted. James will also be teaching classes in November and December. Starting on Saturday, November the 7th, he will be teaching Discerning Your Purpose. And starting on Sundays, November the 8th, he will be teaching How to Be Anti-Racial. There's much more information about these courses on our website, and registration is required, so please check that out. Of course, we have the Youth Ed Finding Your Zen videos, always fun, about mindfulness and self-realization. I hope that you will check those out as well. Next week, we will have a guest musician. Daniel Neyman will be joining us, and we look forward to having Daniel with us at our service. And during the course of Audrey's talk today, she mentioned several spiritual practices, one of which is social action. Well, I'm very pleased to remind you, or inform you if you didn't know this before, that Unity has entered into an agreement with the Build a Bus Home project. and we will be providing showers in the bus on our site starting on Tuesday, November the 3rd, for a period of 90 days. Now, we do need some volunteers for this, and I had a wonderful conversation with Kathy Evans yesterday, our community coordinator. And if you are interested in this or know somebody who is, here's what you're going to do. You can contact Kathy at community coordinator at unityofolympia.com, or you can call her at 360-489-0885. Now, when you do that, Kathy will send you an email with a link so that you can sign up, or actually apply, is a better word for it, in order that you may also volunteer. Mary Ellen and I did this last night so that we will be volunteering, and you get your choice of the day and the time and the job. So it's really quite simple, but there is a very short and simple registration that you need to do. At that point, an entire calendar shows up with the times, the dates, and the jobs. The jobs included welcoming people, setting up and tearing down. There are a number of possibilities. I would also invite you to look at a video about this project, which will tell you much, much more about how the bus works so that we can really step forward once again with our social action. So I'm really pleased to be a part of it. Once again, contact Kathy Evans. I also want to mention that there are community members at large who are participating in this project. So it is not entirely our burden to provide all of the volunteer positions. There are other community members who are doing so at each of the sites where the bus goes. So just give it a thought, contact Kathy, and Mary Ellen and I will see you there. Now, for those of you who missed seeing your Unity friends, of course, we will have our Sunday fellowship following today's service. The link was sent out in the blast email yesterday so that you may join us following today's service. And if you are not on our mailing list, you can go onto the website to our media tab and then the newsletters tab, and you will find a place to register on the left-hand side of the screen. That way you too will be getting the regular newsletters and you will be able to join us for the fellowship Sundays. Audrey's talk was just full of good things today, including, there's nothing more I can say about conscious contribution that she did not already say. It is a spiritual practice. So I know that the church has been blessed with the tithes from all of you, and I hope that you can appreciate it as the spiritual practice that Audrey has lined it out to be. Now, many of you are electronic givers. If you are not one of those, you can always donate at our website. You can send a check in, or you can text to 360-234-2669. However you have your conscious contribution, let us take that into your consciousness now, and let us bless it together with divine love. Please join me. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Open to the sacred richness of our infinite source, we as Unity of Olympia joyfully co-create unlimited prosperity right now, and so it is.
Thank you, Greg. As you guys might guess, Greg is our entertainment and joy every Sunday. Right, Greg? Always has something funny to say. Let's take our open hearts. Let's lead our world home. Let's sing this together. May the light of justice, truth, and grace lead our country home to freedom, freedom, freedom for us all. May the light of justice, truth, and grace lead our country home. May it lead our world
Thank you to everyone who has blessed our service today. Cynthia reading the daily word, Greg being our wonderful worship assistant. Thank you, Paul, for your work in the booth, and Mary Ellen for your producing our service, and to everyone who has participated through watching and through your energy. Let's close with prayer. The light of God surrounds us. We are light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are love of God. The power of God protects us. We are power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, including right here, right now, and all is well.